Morning, people. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is time for your Leeds versus Arsenal preview. It's wall-to-wall football. It's non-stop at the minute on the Just Joe Football Show. If you like the content that I'm putting out, then please do smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. Crazy views on my Man City post-match, so thanks that put themselves through that pain and agony and watched that. And myself and Connor did the midweek fix yesterday, which was a really good video. Some really good points made, and that's done really well as well. So big shout for those that have already watched it. If you haven't already watched it, then make sure you do check it out. But this is your Leeds versus Arsenal preview. I've just sat and watched the press conference, and whenever I hear Bielsa speak, it does nothing but fills me with pride and confidence and fortitude that he spoke about, before in previous press conferences. I love this man, and I feel that, and I've been hearing it and seeing it, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, but there are people out there, rightly or wrongly wrongly in my opinion, obviously rightly in theirs, believe there's a discussion to be had about this man's job. Not for me. A lot's been made, sentiment in football and all sorts of that. But listen, how I am an emotional guy. I'm not gonna. Again, it comes back to everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I am an emotional guy and I react emotionally. And Bielsa just hits me differently, man. And I can't ever see a space where I'll be asking for that man to leave, and nor should I. And nor should Leeds fans. But in my opinion, though, you know what I mean? That's in my opinion because of what this man's done for the football club, and he will keep us in the division this season. Naturally, there are a lot of people concerned about relegation, but you can click this up right now. We will not get relegated. I am that confident in Bielsa, his methods, and this football club. Do I think it might be end of his time come the end of the season? I do, and I hope it's not. But I think he will probably say, do you know what? That's it now, parting of the ways. And then there will be a real test for Leeds United, because then there'll be a massive overhaul of the squad, new manager, new ideas, bigger squad, which could be a benefit, the bigger squad thing, of course, because as we know, Dan James is now out and Jamie Shackleton's out. There has been a returnee in Robin Koch. I even forget what that man looks like. Obviously, he started that game against Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes got an hat-trick, and then we've never seen him again. But he's back. He's back, and he's going to be in the squad. I think he'll come straight in as well. I think he definitely will come straight in. The fact that Shackleton's missing and Dan James, does it mean Joe Geldart will get a start? Yes, I think so. I think we will see Joe Geldart start. And one thing I will say, and I was hopeful of, was that Bielsa would ring the changes after Man City, because the fact that he came out afterwards and said it was the worst performance he's seen, worst performance of his career in his tenure, etc., that, he will ring the changes and make some moves. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of players to choose from, as we know, prior to Robin Koch, getting that news on Robin Koch. We have a first team squad of 18 players. Of course, there's more, but Joe Donoghue of Leeds United Lives did a little piece and said, counting players that have had 2+ Premier League starts, that Leeds only have really a first team squad of 18 players, the rest of them being young kids. And, Bamford, Rodrigo, Cooper, Phillips, Strout, James, Shackleton, Firpo out suspended. It equated, or it equates to about 10 players being available. So it is going to be tough at the weekend, but I have faith. Bielsa said himself, against Chelsea, we played our best game of the season. We seen in that game, shades of Bielsa ball that we're used to. That goal by Joe Geldart shown us that the way that was worked. It was Bielsa ball, and that's probably the first time we've seen it. But he said against City it was our worst. However, he does have confidence that we can reduce or reproduce, the performance against Chelsea and not the one against City at the weekend against Arsenal. That doesn't necessarily mean that we'll get 3 points, but we will see a performance. And I believe that, and I believe in the group of players that we have, that we will see a performance. Of course, points win prizes. We do need points on the board. But Arsenal are no mugs. They are a little bit inconsistent, but yesterday they won. They beat West Ham, who've been flying. They're into 4th. We'll touch on Arsenal a little bit more in depth a little bit later on. One thing Bielsa did say as well, he rebuked any suggestion that he will walk away from this football club. I think there was certain sections of us, quite a lot of us after the City result, where he just looked, sullen and out onto the pitch and didn't speak to any of his players and was the last man out there. We thought, oh, could this be the end of Bielsa? Because we know that he's the type of character that will say, look, guys, game over for me, I'm done. I don't think it'll ever get to a point where the club ask him to. But he rebuked any suggestion that he'll walk away. He said, I am going to fight until the end of the season without any doubts. I hope nothing happens that does not allow me to act out what I've just said. In other words, I hope I don't get sacked. He wants to stay and he will fight until the end of the season without any doubt. And he has my full backing. And I'm hopeful that 95, it should be 100%, but 95% of the fan base are also, feeling that too. And that, he does have our full back. And he also set the record straight on transfers as well. He does want bodies in. I know this might feel like I'm repeating stuff that's been said before, but it feels like Bielsa's obviously feel that he's been misquoted or misreported in the press because he felt the need to set the record straight. And he did say, I want bodies, but they must be better than what we have. And for me, you can't say fairer than that. You can't be bringing in Dudge just to sit on the bench. Okay, they might say, well, these players that are coming can improve the bench, not just the first team. And a good friend of mine, Liam Horsley on Twitter, said that. And I get what he's saying, in the sense that, okay, they might not improve the first team, but they can improve the bench that we're currently carrying with. But I think we have to accept that Bielsa's not going to do that. But I think the club know that they need to make moves this January, and I believe they will. Because the injury problems are just getting worse and worse. As we know, Dan James is now out, Shackleton out, but Robin Koch does return. And as for Leeds United's lineup at the weekend, I think we will, see a few changes. I think we have to, obviously, Junior Firpo being out. I think, me personally, I'd like to see Creswell and Llorente start at centre-back and maybe Luke Ayling move to right-back, but I don't see it happening. The fact that Cody Drameh was brought on against City leads me to believe that he'll start at right back and Dallas will go in at left back with a midfield centre back partnership. Of Ayling and Llorente, but I probably would prefer to see Creswell in there. In the midfield, I think Robin Koch will come straight in. I know Click's available and maybe he would have filled in, but now that Robin Koch is, I see a midfield two of Forshaw and Robin Koch for me. And then, just behind Joe Geldart, I think we'll see Tyler Roberts. And Tyler Roberts has been doing really well of late. From the left will be Jack Harrison. From the right, Rafinha. And as I said, Joe Geldart for me will lead the line. So, and I know that will make a lot of Leeds fans happy. Of course, it's not in great circumstances, the fact that Geldart's probably going to have to start due to injuries. But there'll be some fans, and they'll want him to start and maybe see that as a plus. For me, it's never a plus, the fact that these players are having to come in due to injuries. I know some people would have felt the same about Cooper, or well, at least we'll see Stroud there. I know Stroud's still out, but for me, these players should be getting it on merit, not when players are injured. That's just my personal opinion. And okay, some will say that they should have it on merit, and I tend to go along with that as well, because I do think Joe Geldart probably should start now and lead the line, and look, he will. So there will be changes, and hopefully we'll see an improved performance. Look, Leeds United are undefeated in their last 5 home matches. People forget prior to that City result, and I know it's hard. We'd actually been doing okay. We've been picking up points. We go to Chelsea. It's hard to take. It's just obviously we're on the back end of a spanking by City, so it's hard to look at it objectively, and I do understand that. But remember that Leeds are undefeated in our last 5 home matches in the Premier League. If we can get a point and remain undefeated, I'd snap your hands off right now. A win would be absolutely huge. But we do go up against a very good Arsenal side. Listen, I really like Arsenal. I have done for a long time, to be honest. I loved, the side under Arsene Wenger, apart from when they were playing Leeds United. I think maybe just because they upset the apple cart of the dominance of Manchester United, and Wenger used to get under Ferguson's skin and all that sort of stuff. And Thierry Henry, Robert Pires, Patrick Vieira. I do really like Arsenal, and I like the side that Arteta is building now. I think there's some players in there that will be mainstays in that England side for years to come. Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Ben White, and of course Ramsdale. Ramsdale's had a great season, and I called it on Twitter. I said he would be England's number 1 and got shot down for it, but he's had he's had a fantastic, start to the season and his tenure at Arsenal, and they're a totally different animal. But Leeds United have done okay against Arteta's Arsenal in games, even if it's only been for like 45 minutes at a time. But we have relatively played well against them. They're not, okay, they had a great result against West Ham, and maybe the Aubameyang being stripped of the captaincy has actually galvanised the squad. I was hoping it would have an adverse effect, but it looks like it's galvanised them. Obviously, Emile Smith-Rowe scored off the bench against West Ham, so I'd imagine him to come in and maybe Odegaard drop out. They have many options as well to, freshen it up. Nuno Tavares maybe could come in at left back ahead of Tierney if it needs freshening up. You've got Lokonga as well. They're a really good side, and I like the business that they've done. Tomiyasu, Nuno Tavares, as well as bringing in White and Ramsdale. I think they're a really good side, and I expect them to line up with a 4-2-3-1. Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu right back, White and Gabriel at centre back, and Tierney, I think, will start at left back. The two sitting probably will be Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka, with three behind Lacazette, and I expect them to be Saka, Martinelli, and Emile Smith-Rowe. Maybe Emile Smith-Rowe might not start and it'd be Odegaard, but either one of them, with their technical ability can cause us problems. They're a much better outfit. They're currently sitting fourth. They can be inconsistent though. We're pretty woeful against Manchester United and more so against Everton, who are terrible at the moment. And listening to the All Stats Ant We pod, make sure you check them out. They are vulnerable. They can be pressed across the back line. They are vulnerable to counter-attacks, so we can get at this Arsenal side. We can get at them. We need a result, really. Even if it's a 0-0 draw, I would take it because we need to get points on the board. And we just need a little bit of positivity at Ellen Road. But we are undefeated in 5 games there. We are undefeated in 5 games there. As for a score prediction, I'm going to struggle to give one because I just don't know which Leeds United are going to turn up. Will we get the one that turned up against Chelsea? Will we get the one that, played against City? God forbid we get the one that played against City. But we are threadbare at the moment and we have to stick with them. We have to stick with them. That's just me, how I am. I understand not everyone goes along with my ethos, and that's fine because everyone's entitled to their opinion. But would I take 1-1? Would I take 0-0? I'd snap your hands off. I can't lie. I don't want to give a prediction because I was ballsy on my watch along and said, clip it up. We'll beat them, just because I was emotional. I was emotional at that time. But it is going to be a tough task because Arsenal are a great side. You don't sit fourth in the Premier League if you're mugs, do you? And they've had a great window for me, but they are inconsistent, and I've had a few poor performances of late. So hopefully they rock up into town, aren't purring. Leeds United, full of fortitude, endeavour, owing us a performance after that 7-0 drubbing, which I think we'll get. And hopefully we can come away with 3 points. But if you were to give me a point, I'd snap your hands off now because we just need to get something. Get some points on the board. Obviously, Liverpool up next on Boxing Day. If indeed it goes ahead, we just don't know, do we? Because of Omicron and COVID and stuff. But if that goes ahead, you can write that one off for me, and that's tough for me to say, but you can write that one off. And then we've got Villa, Burnley, etc. So, okay, Villa are really good, but it's a game we can look at and say, okay, we can get something from that. But Arsenal, we're at home, undefeated in 5. Let's get something from the game, and fingers crossed we can. They'll have my full back, and I can't wait, to be honest, to get to Ellen Road on Saturday and sing my heart out for this side because they deserve it. They deserve it for me. They need our support now more than ever, I think, and I will more than oblige. But thank you as always for watching the Just Joe Football Show. Fingers crossed we can get a result, and have a great end to your week, and I'll see some of you Saturday, and if not, I'll see you for the review afterwards. Peace out now. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.